It's time to head to one of the nicest cities in all of Canada, St. Albert. Located on the Sturgeon River, St. Albert has become one of Canada's most desirable places to live. It all started in 1861 when one of the earliest missionaries in the West, Father Lacombe, proclaimed Mission Hill home.
He stood on top of the hill overlooking the Sturgeon Valley, and what he saw was a big lake, the Sturgeon River, lots of white spruce trees, rich soils, lots of wildlife.
Known as the Botanical Arts City, St. Albert has more than 85 kilometers of trails, 1,100 acres of green space, and over 80,000 trees. The city is looking to ensure it has a strong sense of place and home.
Really, it's an investment in the community, and it's part of why St. Albert's been named, whether it's the best place to live in Canada or the best place to raise a family.
And one of the reasons we have a botanical arts theme to our community is really recognizing those roots in agriculture and food.
According to the city's most recent community satisfaction survey, 99% of respondents provided a positive rating on the quality of life in St. Albert.
They know we're a dynamic, growing city, but what they really want is for us to maintain our sense of community, like being friendly, connected. You know your neighbor, it's safe, it's quiet, and very supportive.
I'm Doug Roxburgh, and today on Where You Live, we're in the council chambers in the city of St. Albert, and joined with me is, I'd like to say the legend himself, but maybe he'll adjust to that, Mayor Nolan Kraus. Nolan, thank you so much for joining us
My
today.
pleasure, thanks for having me.
So, St. Albert, it is known as Alberta's finest city. Does Edmonton and Calgary ever object to that saying from St. Albert?
Well, maybe we're not big enough to be able to compete with them at the finest city category, but certainly residents love living in St. Albert. Those who live here view us as the finest city, botanical arts city, great place to live, great place to raise a family, great place to work, play, all those things.
You always say it's a great place to live, work, play. According to Money Sense, in the last couple of years, St. Albert has been rated #1. What makes it such a great place to live?
Well, it's really a blend of many years of historical building the community, but the education system is tops. Community safety, a great place to recreate in all kinds of categories. There's really no recreation that you can't have. We don't have a pro sports team, but we have access to a couple pretty good close ones. I think the people of St. Albert have developed a close-knit community over the decades, and as a result, a great place to live and great place to work, and a little bit trite, live, work, and play, but for the most part, it is all of the above.
It's over 150 years old, and it relates all the way back to its Aboriginal culture. How does that culture speak to where St. Albert goes in the future?
That's a great question, because it really is the foundation of why it's a great place today, and it's hard to think that 155 years ago the foundation was laid for it to be a great place. But in reality, it was the birthplace of Alberta education. It was the birthplace of Alberta health. So the first hospital and the first schools here. So as a result of that, you end up over decades of attracting some of the best medical folks living here, some of the best educators living here, commuting into post-secondary educations as well as educational institutions, as well as living here. So I think what happened is 150 some years ago, it was where it was founded in its current state, obviously founded far before then when it came to the Aboriginal roots. But my point is that what happens is over a period of time, the depth of your systems and your culture deepens because of that kind of history.
And it deepens, as we've seen with the Perrin District, it's going under revitalization. Is that sort of aspect coming into play?
Well, it would be. The old downtown of St. Albert is still a downtown. Many communities struggle to keep their downtown or to keep their downtown revitalized. We've taken a position in the last 30 years where we continue to revitalize, maintain that small town feel, make sure that there's a main street, make sure the shops and stores are still vibrant, and all of that helps build a community. There is a love for a town center, for a city center, for a village center.
You talked about how the past is represented throughout St. Albert's. Mark Messier, a prominent fixture in St. Albert's. But why isn't there any Calgary Flames players, former players, that are certain fixtures, like a Jerome McGinley, who's from St. Albert?
Well, let's face it. We've had about 30 players that have grown up in St. Albert and have gone to play in the NHL. I don't think there's any question about where Jerome is going to end up, when he's going to end up in the Hall of Fame, and someday there'll be an arena named after Jerome in this city. Calgary Flame, Edmonton Oiler, Colorado Avalanche, we're all proud of Jerome. And I think that he will have his day, but it'll probably be as a Calgary Flame in St. Albert. Well, we can take that. That's just fine. It's good for Jerome.
So you're still an Oiler fan then, true.
Well, I grew up a Leaf fan, and I'm actually almost an equal Leaf and Oiler fan. A dream would be for me to have a Leaf Oiler Stanley Cup final. That may happen.
You know, there's some people in Edmonton that you're just breaking their heart just a little bit. You realize.
You know, I have to. I go back to my roots, right? My roots are Toronto Maple Leafs, but certainly I'm an Edmonton Oiler fan. I really am. I'm an equal Edmonton Oiler fan to a Leaf fan. I don't know I don't know who I'd cheer for if it was a Leaf Oiler final. I'd probably cheer for the Oilers.
Well, hopefully we don't have to worry about that anytime soon.
Well, I hope we do. I hope we do have to worry about that. That would be a dream, wouldn't it?
Actually, it wouldn't be too bad. All
Canadian
hockey,
right. Oilers, Leafs, yeah, tough ticket to get.
It'd be an extremely tough ticket to get. But let's look back at St. Albert, the farmers market, one of the biggest in Western Canada. How does it get to be that level?
Yeah, well, first of all, it starts with good coordination by our Chamber of Commerce, and I think we might be into our 25th to 30th year. And so what happens is when you have volunteers as well as a great organization leading it, that's where it starts. Second thing, it's really led by the business community, so it's a good grassroots organization. Third, it's a fundraiser for the Chamber of Commerce, so they have an incentive to keep it good. And fourth, it's in our downtown. We're willing and able to shut our streets down and make sure that it gets its full deserved time. And maybe most importantly, it's the people that just love to walk around. We love to be around people. People love to be with people. So they come in and they find crowds to be within, and then you can hardly move, and it's just what people want.
And the farmers market, it's all about healthy eating as well, because I mean it's coming from the farmland of Alberta, a very important fixture in the Alberta economy scape.
Yeah, I didn't actually touch on the real reason you have it, and it's to go buy something.
That's right.
It's really about commerce, and commerce in all kinds of ways. But yes, absolutely, people love it. It's where people buy their carrots and peas and strawberries.
But that brings me to my next point. St. Albert has been rated one of the healthiest cities in all of Canada. Does that mean I can go downtown and get a poutine, or is it?
Yes, absolutely. You can go to Jack's Burgers. You could get some raw carrots at the farmers market. So, I think that healthiest category is really one for all. It's really all categories. We have good clean living, clean air. There are so many ways and reasons why you'd say it's a healthy city, but we'll take whatever categories that people want to point at us. We don't get too many rocks thrown at us. We are actually a pretty good community, and we're proud of it.
One thing that St. Albert has is a little bit higher property taxes than the rest of the capital city region, but those property taxes go to help build the community. Where does those taxes kind of go to?
Yeah, so the St. Albert taxes, when you combine the taxes and the utilities, it's near the higher end of the capital region. The challenge with St. Albert is we just don't have the industry base that other communities have to be able to offset some of the residential tax base. So we rely on 85% of our residential, or 85% of our taxes are coming from residents, compared to maybe 70% in other communities. So those taxes have to be wisely spent. We make sure we're focused on providing good community amenities, good recreation, good arts, good culture facilities, and people really want to live in a community that has that right combination of arts, culture, and arts, or arts, culture, and recreation.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. With the Henday being built, Edmonton has seen a little bit of a boundary push. Do you have a fear of Edmonton kind of overtaking St. Albert a little bit, or not really?
No, well, not really. And the reason I think not is because I think what we're going to see in the capital region in the next 100 years, I think you're going to see the communities are going to grow together, but we're going to grow independently. A little bit like what happened in Greater Vancouver, where Vancouver itself has maintained its identity, but so is Coquitlam, and so is Surrey, and so is North Vancouver. And I think that's how you're going to see this region grow. It's going to grow where individuality is going to be able to be maintained, yet growth is going to still occur, obviously.
How did St. Albert come on the name the Botanical Arts City?
Yeah, so it was about 6 or 8 years ago on a kind of on a branding process. The question was, who are we? And we're really a green community, a botanical community, a community that prides ourselves in green living, on good, healthy living. And so the botanical became part of that. But we're also equally, we have a good reputation for our arts community, our cultural community. So the experts looked at it and says, well, by itself you're a botanical city, by itself you really got an arts brand, and together you're botanical arts. So it seems kind of an odd pair of words to put together, but the community has embraced it. We've linked the two together, and wherever you look at now you see the botanical arts, 2 words. People quote it all the time, even though not necessarily we're able to maybe define it. But it's botanical, it's arts, individually and collectively, Botanical Arts City.
So I'm just going to throw a couple of stats at you. Money Sense magazine rated St. Albert the #1 place to live in Canada a couple of years ago, a couple years running as well. I think they're down to about number 4 now. St. Albert's also been rated the healthiest city in Canada. I mean, shouldn't the slogan of St. Albert just be, we're just the best place to live? It just seems that way.
Well, maybe it should be. Maybe that's the product of all of the other things that you do. It's a great place to live as a product of a healthy community. It's a product of a safe community. It's a product of a botanical community. It's a product of an arts community. It's really the blend of it all. And so call us what you want to call us, but we're proud to be, we're better off to be in the top 10 on those than say the bottom 10, whether it be safety, whether it be quality of life, whether it be healthy living, whether it be a place to raise a family or community safety. Just better off to be in the top 10 than the bottom 10.
Well, I think if we gave you that slogan, I think other towns and regions around the capital city region would be a little offended, wouldn't they?
Yeah, botanical arts, there's probably no one else that will claim botanical arts in North America, maybe in the world. So we'll keep that, and then let other people judge us as they visit us, as they get to live here.
And finally, just touch on the family-oriented nature of the community. I know there's a lot of regions like Beaumont, like a Stony Plain, like a Spruce Grove that are very family-oriented. How does the town or the city of St. Albert differ?
Well, first of all, we have a high percentage of dual income, dual parent families, which is as a percentage compared to the rest of Canada, provides a good solid family base. The education system, which I spoke to earlier, is as solid as there is in Canada. If you look at all the metrics and analytics relative to the school system, it nurtures a good education. So what do people want? Well, they want a good place to recreate, they want a good place to raise a family, but they want an education system that is second to none, and a health system. We have a hospital, which many others don't. So, and that attracts family doctors. So there really isn't anything that St. Albert doesn't provide for a city of 60,000 people.
Well, it does seem like a pretty good place to live. You should hang on to my slogan because, I mean, you keep pumping it up.
We may use that another day, but for now, we're happy where we are.
Mayor Krause, thank you very much for joining us on this edition of Where You Live. Of course, if you'd like to see your town or city featured on our program, you can send us a tweet at Shaw TV Edmonton. I'm Doug Roxburgh with another look at Where You Live.